Tuna wageni watatu, Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I'd like to welcome you all today for this Quest to Unite Africa Friday. During these special times that I did refer to as Judgment Week. Yeah, there was some hustle and bustle going on in the wee late hours, and I got a chance to put together over my about 10-15 minutes that I was working on doing 6-7 things at once. Don't get distracted by the hype. I gotta say that, fam. Don't get distracted by the hype. And so I want to go through. This is going to be a little interesting today. And I said that this is going to be an interesting show because of current events going on. And now here we have it. Most High never disappoints. But I want you to understand what it is that's going on so you aren't overly hyped up. What's happened over there, it's a hype game, and I'll show you why. I'm going to provide this here in the chat. Go ahead and share this with folks, because I told you this is going to be a little bit of a different Quest to Unite Africa discussion. And especially for the time that we're in, we're going to delve into some things a little bit more deeply. But I have that post. I put that in the chat, and now I'm going to share it on the screen. Now, I'm going to give you a caveat to this, and I'm going to agree with Canadian Prepper on this. This is a hype game, and I'll show you why towards the end after this this analytical discourse. So they'll put here Israeli official security and governmental sources told the Jerusalem Post on Friday, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Israeli retaliated with their attack. They didn't really name the source. So what does that mean? That means anybody could have said it. Anybody. Who are you talking about? Who's representing? I don't know. Who knows? Here's this. That said, officially, Israel will not accept responsibility for this attack for strategic reasons. They didn't do the attack, not on Iran. And so let me show you this. It says sources explain that the Iranians claim it was an explosion on a factory because they wish to avoid escalation. These are all lies. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. It's ad hominem. Israeli sources told the Post that it is unclear why the Pentagon disclosed to the American media that Israel was involved. I'm gonna stop sharing that. Let me get to this next article because then it'll start to all make sense. Because there was no limited strike on the factory. I know. Breaking news: Iranian commander. Now this is coming directly from Iran. This is on X. Iranian commander says Iran has identified all Israeli nuclear sites and is ready to react to any attack. Any attack. I'll put this on in there for you all to go. You'll because you're going to start to understand towards the end what's happening with them making really a big deal out of nothing. Because that is the narrative that they want you to see. This is from Yahoo News. This is from Reuters. Iran and Israel open warfare after decades of shadow war. So Israel launched a strike on Iranian soil on Friday. Notice they have to say Iranian soil. And I'm going to tell you, remember that nothing, remember what the general said at any attack. Remember what Iran said. Iran said any smallest incursion. So Israel launched a strike on Iranian soil on Friday, sources said, in the latest tit for tat exchanges between the regional arch foes whose long shadow war has broken into the open and Israeli Prime Minister, blah, blah, blah. And then just talk about the exchanges. And Iran responds with a barrage, and this prompted Israel to launch a strike on Iranian soil. Sources familiar with the matter said, understand what they always say. Sources familiar with the matter says. That's not anything direct, because here's the thing, they never hit direct. It's smoke and mirrors, and if people aren't wary to understand the smoke and mirrors, they're going to say, "Oh yeah, Israel did attack Iran. Look how strong Israel is." See, that day used to happen all the time where there was really no analytical observation. And it used to get a lot of people. Oh, yeah, did you not see how they struck? Did you not see how they struck? You know, the funny thing is, in Iran, they're saying here, If you want to see what's happening, here's what's this real-time footage. They're given real-time footage. But the problem that you are seeing is that when these attacks are occurring, it's being purported that these attacks were and explosions were happening in Syria and Iraq. Syria, Iraq, Iran, who cares? It's all the same, right? We may not go to war on the territory, but we went to war with the proxies, right? All the same, right? No, it's not. It's just the same playbook that they've always used. I've told you, they're afraid to go to war with Iran. They've always been. They know that they have to go, but they want to go with the best option forward, and that's to have the US and the United States, or UK and the United States, to be arm in arm in the fight against the Iranians. Why do I say that? Here's another one to basically confirm everything for you all and why everything took place today. Because they wanted to hit the 24-hour news cycle. Because let me show you why. I dropped the link in the chat for this. This is from whatever, something for news now. Foreign aid package vote Saturday. Let's listen.
The nation now in Washington, D.C., Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is defying critics in his own party by pushing ahead with votes on a $95 billion foreign aid package. The money would be split between Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. Some Republicans oppose funding for Ukraine, saying they want more spending on U.S. border security first.
To put it bluntly, I would rather send bullets to Ukraine than American boys. My son is going to begin in the Naval Academy this fall. This is a live fire exercise for me, as it is so many American families. This is not a game. It's not a joke.
Johnson says he wants to pass a potential ban on TikTok. At the same time, the speaker is likely to get the Democratic votes he needs for his new aid package, with President Joe Biden now throwing his support behind the bills. The House could vote on them as soon as Saturday.
The House could vote for it as soon as Saturday. Does this make sense? Run the 24-hour news cycle. Try to make it look as though something had happened that really didn't happen. Because why? Because it's all a political game. So why did the Pentagon leak the info on the attack? Because why? Because we're trying to get an aid package on through. And when the aid package comes through, okay, now then you can respond. Israel can now respond with the green light because the aid package came through, and now you have the undying support of the United States through policy. Do we all see this? Do we not see this happening? It's a classic okey doke. Yeah, we launched attacks on Iran, and we quote unquote targeted Iranian infrastructure that didn't make it. But you see explosions in Syria and Iraq. That shows Iran a thing or two. Did you actually fire on Iran? Sources could neither confirm nor deny because we don't want to have an escalation. Do you see the classic okey doke? It's the classic okey doke, fam. That's all they did. So the people, yes, Charles, they're being played right in front of our eyes. And it's funny, it's classic. Did you see all those strikes? Did you see that retaliation? Yeah, now Israel needs more of our help because guess what? Iran's about to attack. Iran's like, for what? You ain't had anything over here. Yeah, but we hit close by. Y'all didn't even hit anything. Yeah, did you see those explosions? In Iraq and Syria. Yeah, but they're on your people. They're on Iranian proxies. That wasn't on Iran's territory. Yeah, but we've been conditioned over in the West to accept any single lie that they have. And it's pretty sad. And the funny thing is, I know who watches these channels, and I understand where the folks of a different hue are coming from because now they can't even really watch the news because they don't know what's actually the truth. See, what happened was that we had been lied to for so long, they don't care about us. All we say, all we do, they don't care. We have been a denigrated, demoralized, dehumanized class. Why listen to them? They don't know what they're saying. They have no idea. They're not in Congress. They never worked in government. They never worked in these places. They don't know. And so that's the game that they play. All right, if you say so, that's fine. But when we're proven to be right, then they want to get mad at us and say, well, how come you didn't speak on this louder? How come you weren't more demonstrative? How come? Hey, it's not us, it's your algorithm. Blame it on the tube, blame it on the algorithm. And now, as we're seeing all this take place, we've been saying, look, here are these ominous warnings and ominous signs. You don't have to believe us. That's fine. You don't have to believe us. But understand how you're getting played in front of your very own eyes. See, we already understand the roadmap. We already understand what it takes for them to get in this war. Oh, he's talking a good game. Well, my son is going to the Naval Academy. He's going to be at Annapolis. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. This is going to be a very. They don't care. They know the deal. They don't have much longer. Sorry, but they don't. And they're literally telling you that they don't. Why couldn't they wait another week or so? Why did they have to do it this week? Why did they have to do it that? Because they don't have much time left. Why do you see that they're trying to do this aid package? Because they're trying to have enough money to shore up their literally 3 fronts. It'll be more than 3 fronts. Because the Caribbean will pop off. The Caribbean will pop off with Venezuela. Make no mistake about it. And that's a very close and ominous warning because, yeah, Florida's in the mix. Uh-oh, that is literally U.S. soil. Yep, that little appendage dangles right into the Gulf, right into the northern Caribbean. That means that something can be reached. And to me, when that happens, I can only say that Florida will probably concede very quickly. It's not worth it to fight. Stay in your homes. That would be where their beachhead gets established. In my personal opinion, everybody's too concentrated on the wall when you can just pull up on speedboats, jam the mess out of something, and be like, "Oh, it's just a cyber attack," and the next thing they know, you don't have no radar or something on else. And I know a lot of people are probably shook on that one because they can see that reality coming to pass pretty quickly. They'll get the word in DC what's happening, and DC will say, "Stand down. We need to regroup before we can plan a response to regain territorial sovereignty." Why did you think that they had all those folks training there in Cuba? Why did you think that they opened up the ports to Cuba? Hundreds of thousands of Russians flocking to Cuba. I'm sure they are. Russian tourists. I'm sure they're all tourists. Come on now. Just like I'm sure all those folks over on the borders were not some sort of a hybrid force. Do I believe it's possible? Absolutely. Do I believe it's more possible now than any other time? Absolutely. They'd only have to come up to Orlando. It's not too hard. Florida is literally segmented off in the middle of the Everglades. It's actually a very easy segmentation because you already have the east and the west cut off. You run a blockade up to Alligator Alley, 41 and 75. And then you have restricted terrain of the Everglades. Once you knock out the Key West Naval Air Station, which is really just a monitoring location, you're blind all the way up to the Panhandle. I mean, that's how it goes. This isn't anything classified. This is all open source. And now you have Russian ships that were there. You had Russian aircraft that were there the other day. And guess what they're all backfilling from? Venezuela. That'll be an easy island chain operation, overflight operation from Venezuela to Cuba, then from Cuba to South Florida. You could backfill in troops in a matter of hours. They'd hit strategic locations in Jacksonville and in Pensacola. All you have is just a major command center, and they would knock that out too. They always talk about Mexico and this and that. Why? The real target for me is Florida. You can have a beachhead here very, very quickly. Have folks draw out to Miami. You knock out the roads, and then you don't have any support from Western Florida and their National Guard forces. And then you will have a lackluster federal response because they wouldn't really know what to do in that situation because they're going to say, you know what? As long as it doesn't affect the mainland, which is the mainland. Yeah, we think that things will take, weeks. No, they could strike. Yeah, you set up a hypersonic missile blockade, a no-fly zone, ain't nothing going on. Anybody in Florida, including myself, will be under that control. because it doesn't really take that long. They could probably clear a good 300-400 miles, and they have range. They would have the range that would bring that on in. And see, now when you look at that, you realize the U.S. is a little bit more vulnerable than what it really portends. Remember all these Chinese and Russian aircraft and destroyers that were in the Caribbean Sea? See, a lot of our folks tend to forget it because why? Because it's the 24-hour news cycle, just like this. 24-hour news cycle. They're going to hype it on up. China's going to come on out. Did you see what happened? Did you see what happened? And then they don't even really give any good analysis. Yeah, we saw what happened, but Brother Karras actually broke that on down, and it makes sense. And then they'll run it again in a couple days. This is always what happens in about 48 to 72 hours after everything goes on, it goes down, they get their vote on in. Oh, it was purported that it wasn't actually Israel that did that. It was actually US that targeted sites in Syria and Iraq because of intel stating that something was going on. Same game plan. You can't make this on up. They're literally showing it right in front of your face. All right, hurry up, get the funding before folks start asking questions and, the American public see what we're trying to do. Classic smoke and mirrors. And it's a good smoke and mirrors operation because you should have seen how many messages and texts I was getting. Brother Karras, is this the end? Brother Karras. Then I had to look and I had to realize, like, nope, they're asking for funding. I would have gotten away with it had it not been for you pesky Hebrews. Like zoinks. Oh no, Shaggy. You look scary. I know, Scoob. Explosions, and folks are like, where? What explosions? Yeah, my cameras. I don't see any explosions. Well, there are explosions. Yeah, it was in Iraq. It was in Syria. And then they'll say, hey, the reason we had to do that is because we had to make sure that, with Iraq and Syria, that they didn't retaliate and that they couldn't help to defend the real response. That's how they're going to phrase it. It was an attack on them because now we're ready for the real response, because we're able to degrade their anti-aircraft capabilities. I'm telling you the game plan. That just tells you how scared they are. But I thought that they're the chosen people, right? They didn't need to have any quote unquote Gentile or heathen nations help in studying war no more, but all they do is study war, and they see their end. See, they can lie to you, they can lie to me, they can lie to the whole world and deceive the whole world. But guess who they can't lie to? They can't lie to the Most High. They can't give any type of stigma phraseology to the Most High. Say what you want to say, do what you want to do, act how you want to act. But let me tell you, when it comes down to the Most High, you don't have anything. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's what they're mad about. See, when you understand this word, you understand literally what's happening around the world, and you can start to see the scams. You can start to see the smoke in the mirrors. Why do they have to go so hard like that? Because I'm going to tell you, their system is failing. Why do they have to do what they're doing? I'm going to tell you, their system is failing. They're not going to ever tell you they may be on the last weeks, months, days. They won't tell you that. They'll just pump a nice news story and then get to their bunkers and then try to crawl on out when they think everything is going on. I believe the Western media has been able to control all, and we're seeing their greatest exercise and control. You have to understand, when they do these exercises and control, when you perform, everything that is done becomes highlighted, and then you can see what they're doing, and that efficacy, the effectiveness, becomes diminished. Diminishing values, right? Diminishing returns. Because why? Because then you go to, you know, um, TASS or other news agencies that they have in Iran. And that you look and you're like, oh, nothing did happen. Well, how come they're saying this happened? How come they're trying to report that this happened? How come they're trying to do this and do that? Because it's all a game to get you to believe that something happened, so they can get the funding and to prepare for when it goes down. Because it wasn't the question of if, it was a question of what type of smoke and mirrors. Remember, they couldn't go anywhere because why? Jordan got exposed. Oh my goodness. And you should see all of the things going on with Jordan right now. When I told you about how Jordan had been exposed, and the Jordanian backlash, I got to make sure. Oh, they scrubbed it. There was a ton of protest on the street. And they did not want to show you any of that. Let me just show you this. I'll put this up on in here. This is as of Thursday. I gotta give you you gotta see it in front of your eyes so you can understand. I have this shared. It's the link is in the site. You all can see what I'm seeing. Voice 7 News. Jordan faces backlash over alleged aid to Israel and preventing Iranian attacks. This is Voice 7 News. Massive protests have erupted in Jordan following allegations that the government assisted Israel in thwarting Iranian drone and missile attacks. The protests stem from Jordan's reported interception of over 300 and drones and missiles launched by Iran towards Israel's territory last Saturday, marking a significant escalation in tensions in the region. In a statement, the Jordanian government defended its actions, stating it was a necessary measure taken in self-defense to protect its people. That's the cop-out. I told you. Because I told you, here's what I said. This is the sentiment on the ground. I just said it yesterday. And here it is. Hussein, a Jordanian protester, expressed a frustration, stating, "I am very upset with the way Jordan has protected Israel." They didn't have to worry about shooting down any drones or missiles. They already know that. Matter of fact, when you do shoot down drones and missiles that are overflying you, guess what that does? That creates more of a safety concern because you're interdicting them via mid-flight. That debris goes somewhere. It just doesn't stay in the sky. It goes somewhere. You interdict it over Jordan, it's going to fall over Jordan instead of it going all the way to its intended target. It makes no sense. That's why people are protesting. See, you can only pull the wool over people's eyes for so long. You can only provide the nonsensical remonstrations of an argument that is totally asinine in nature. Well, because we had to shoot it over skies to have the debris fall over our heads, because if we had just let the thing go and made it over to the territory, no, we're not defending them. No, that's called you are defending them. Do you see how they protest because they're like, I'm sorry, but we're not black folks. We don't look at ignorance and just, nothing we can do about it. We've been given over to the curses. Nothing we could do about it. All we could do is, and just let the Most High be the Most High while we're in our captivity. I'm just going to sit back down and go back to sleep and make sure I have hot cocoa. Gets the body nice and warm and tingly so I can lay down under these covers. No, they're going to be like, y'all could have killed us just by defending them. Heck no. Time to take it to the street. I don't even have the article in my hand yet, family. And I'm like, this is the article. I said, Jordan does these protests and it will probably protest. And yes, it wasn't just one or 100, thousands of people. They shut that city down. But they were not going to show you that. They were not going to show you that. Because why? Because the whole effort now is to shut down news. It's to shut down the news cycle. Yeah, this backlash is real. So what can they do to shut down the backlash? Well, the backlash is going to happen, but they're not going to show you. And yes, we are very close because the whole effort is to shut down the news cycle. Once you try to shut down the news cycle, I'm going to tell you, war is usually imminent within 6 months. And I'm going to tell you, as not just a conflict where you just have one or two skirmishes and, pum, pum, ping, ping, none of that, where your Skittle bars and your candy bars are, glancing. No, they have to shut down the news cycle because why? Because war is imminent. And then they'll give you, like Peace Corps stories. Oh, we're doing such a great job in the area. See, we're feeding this to little Mariam and Omar. They're getting meals. And then they'll show you that those are photos or footage taken like 6-7 months ago that they're trying to rehash. And the next thing you know, there's conflict in the Middle East as battles are brewing and occurring. Armies are being moved in. They have the dramatic news music. Well, how are you telling me this today when yesterday you just said that little Mariam and Omar and Jasmine they're getting, warm food and blankets and shelters from the UN or whatever UNICEF peacekeeping operations. All UN non-essential personnel have been forced to evacuate, leaving hundreds of thousands of refugees to fend for themselves. I don't think people remember that a while ago in Darfur with the refugee shelters, and then there's a skirmish, and you saw all them refugees, they just packed up and they left. Skin and bones. Skin and bones. And they're up and going, trying to avoid the opposing army because they're scared. Yeah. It was actually in 13 states that the 911 systems went down. 13 states. Probing operations to do what? To shut down communications. Don't just think that it's not internally done, but it's also externally done. And when people talk about, hey, did you hear that communications were affected? Then those adversaries that did the operations, well, guess what? Now they're hearing how effective everything is, and it's them that reports it. Okay, this operation went through because why? Because this went on. This went through the main channels. That's what they do. They look in open source. They're looking at what the media reports are saying. Hey, here's this article. We have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different articles that's showing the effectiveness of this operation. Okay, cool. So what are they putting? And then they give them the metrics. That's the feedback on an operation. And they're literally giving them the feedback. And then what happens? Then they go on to Twitter. They go on to, or X, and they go on to Instagram, Telegram, TikTok. Oh man, I was experiencing problems. Our 911 center went on out. Everybody was kind of flipping out. Nobody knew what to do. Hey, I tried to call 911 and it was down. And guess what? Now you have all those news feeds that did what? It showed the effectiveness of that operation. So once we can ascertain what we were able to have our AI mash out for us, when we hit the button at this time, it took about 15 minutes for a response to be elicited. That's how they do. That's how they plan. So if they have other operations that they're getting ready to step up, they know how long it will take to cause a disruption. You know, I always say this, and I'm always going to tell you this. Listen, communication is key. And the moment that they take out communications is a moment that you can be safe to assume that an is happening. Some sort of an invasion has happened. Some sort of an operation has happened, especially if it's over a prolonged period of time. And I say prolonged to be at least 96 to 120 hours. If you're out, I would say anything less than that, to me, it's probably an exercise. Because, 48 to 72 hours, I think that's an exercise. 96 to 120 hours. To me, I believe that's an invasion. Because y'all don't even realize how many sorties can be flown over that time frame, especially from other places throughout the world. They could literally be hundreds, if not thousands. And you would never know the wiser. And people would be too panicked to even understand what's going on, because you want to know why. With telecommunications being down, you know what folks are going to do? They got to stock up. I got to get to the store. I got to get some gas. I got to get this. Telecommunications is down. Let me get the cash while I can get it. Let me use some of this cash. Now's a great time to get this gas, to get some jugs while cash is there. Have you noticed why they've been trying to limit cash? So they could do what? Limit people's response to getting resources. Just stay in your house. Communications is down, but guess what? Electric is still on. Please don't do anything sudden. If you have issues, concerns, contact your local authorities. Via email. Or your local authorities will make announcements over shortwave radio emergency broadcast systems. Those are default systems. Get some crossword puzzles, play some board games, do what you need to do to stay preoccupied in a civil manner. At that time, people will be panicking and flipping out. And then when you have panic erupt amongst in the streets, then guess what? What can you do when there's an invasion taking place and you have panic in the streets? That's a recipe for disaster. There's no invasion, man. Nothing's happening. This is just martial law and all this other stuff. Yeah. Systematic confusion. And then who do you know that always tries to get us involved? Are you going to stand for this? You need to be on our side so we can get this together. We need you to react. We need you to do something about it. React to what? React to who? I don't know who's friendly. I don't know who's foe. And then as soon as telecommunications do go up, then guess what? You already know that telecommunications has been compromised. So then it's what messaging is on out there that's actually true. Emergency national alert, state national alert, local local alerts. Because something that may seem so benign may be something that's absolutely detrimental. Don't worry, please resume normal activities. You will have your local news and cable channels up in a few. Please ensure that you are no longer disrupted. You are free to resume normal activities. And then you'll have others that are, please ensure that you are sheltering in place. This is an active engagement of an adversary. Please disregard any new communications. That would be kind of trippy, wouldn't it? Man, I'm getting these Amber Alerts on my phone, and they're saying everything's good, and one's saying everything's bad. Now, I don't know what to believe, but if I don't go into work, then I'm screwed. I could get fired. Let me just hurry up and go into work and see what's going on and make sure. And then guess what? People are being drawn on out. People are being drawn on out, and they're pulling up in different places. And as they're getting to there's a strike, there's a strike, there's a strike. And then you knock out what? Bridges, communication lines. Mass hysteria doesn't begin in the house. Mass hysteria begins when people are projecting a normal and safe day, and so then they're going out to do their normal and safe activities. So then they believe nothing's happening. No, when you're caught up in explosions, when you're caught up in trying to figure out how you can get your vehicles on out of different places, and then you see tanks on the streets, Because why? Because nobody's going to tell you what places are safe or not. That was happening all the time in Iraq. Folks were trying to get out of Dodge. And nobody knew who was friend or foe. That was happening all the time when ISIS was bearing down on Mosul. People were escaping. It was too late. There was a certain cutoff, and then everybody else was treated as an enemy combatant. You're in a vehicle, you're an enemy combatant. You're trying to escape, you're an enemy combatant. I'm sorry, I don't know how to, we can't rationalize your actions because we don't know if your actions are going to be deemed to be safe or deemed to be a threat. And sorry, I'm giving you a little bit of physical security, combat, operations. Because if a lot of people, if people here that don't know that rationale, that level of thinking, a lot of people want to say, you want to know what? It's time to go. I got to go. That's why it is for real. Save up, stock up for at least 2 weeks. Because then you'll get notified somehow, some way. There'll be either a leaflet drop with drones, or there'll be other radio communications, depending on the frequencies that you have. If you have short wave radios, there'll be a transmittal of some sorts. This is not safe. You need to evacuate. If you evacuate, you need to do this. These are the instructions to evacuate if you're coming east or west. Hey, shalom, Brother Mike. We're doing something a little bit different today. It's not your regular Quest 2 Night Africa.
Oh, it's not. I'm just getting in, man. I had to find a signal.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to to speak to you.
Man, I tell y'all left a brother out in the cold. Oh man, that's cold.
No, it's that's you're asleep when that happens.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
Oh, no.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah.
So I'm just yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, give me the word. What's been happening?
Oh, so there was a strike. Allegedly, there is a retaliation on Iran from, and Israel's not confirming nor denying, but there was nothing going on in Iran. There was no footage, things of that nature. And the Iranians were releasing, video and footage of, the supposed sites that were hit that didn't have anything. So there was a lot more, live optics, vice what you had received from, Israel the other day, and they weren't trying to release any type of footage. And now, it was actually told that their rate of interceptions was a lot lower than 99%. I think I said give it a few days, and they'll start reporting the truth. Just like here, right? You're gonna have a lot of lies flooding, but what we have to understand is, why do you have a flood of lies here in this, 24, 48, 72-hour news cycle. And I had just
Mm-hmm.
shared that they're getting ready to take up another foreign aid package for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. And
They giving everybody else money. Ain't that something?
Exactly. And guess what? And they're going to vote for it as soon as Saturday, right? So now this is the hype factor, hype everybody up. Well, you see what's happened there? We got to support. And now, let's hurry up and get this thing voted on, and we'll go from there. That was the hype factor.
Let me ask you something though, Brother Karras.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so much of a rush? What is they playing? I mean, why?
Was the breakdown. That was the breakdown. That's what you caught me in, Why is there a rush? Because here's the thing. Just as we had talked about 13 states 911 had gone down, that's your critical infrastructure that's now being affected. Hey, this is what's happening.
Wait a minute. You said 911 went down?
Yes, in 13 U.S. states.
Oh, shucks. Where's the boat? It's time to go.
So the thing is that as I was explaining that, look, these are really operations that's occurring, but we don't understand these probing operations because these operations tell where the vulnerabilities are.
Okay.
And so imagine you have mass hysteria, right, for folks trying to get up on out of here, trying to get to 911. Who can help me? Who can save me? Well, 911 goes down. And you're already here in a very bad situation where you have a lot of people that know how to use critical analysis and critical thinking. So that critical analysis and critical thinking is now gone. So what are they going to resort to? They're going to resort to either to violence on one another. Because why? Because there's a lot of people that did not prepare. Where will that violence be most demonstrated at? Obviously, gas stations and supermarkets and other places that has resources.
Well, you know what people do when panic kicks in, and once it really truly take root. Oh, this is what's going on. And just like I remember Red was telling me that one of his friends said, if they hit the fan like that, I just go rob somebody. And he just said it like it was, that was not an issue. But it's seeming like that's going to be more of an issue now. It's going to be, the thing that they can gravitate to easily and things of that nature. Man. But then at the same time, didn't you say that Israel is not denying nor confirming that they did retaliate?
Yeah, because here's the thing. They know that they're going to, once the reports come in that there was nothing that happened except for explosions in Iraq and Syria, that's usually what always happens. It's going to be explosions in Iraq and Syria.
But don't that sound like a punk move to you?
It is. It is.
All right.
They're not confirming nor denying. To me, I look at it as it's more or less the United States doing that. So then, they can see, nothing was shown because, they're going to have satellite imagery that's going to be pumped to them from the Russians and the Chinese. Hey, look, the signatures show that nothing was launched from out of Israel. Things were launched from out of the, either the Persian Gulf or the, or Iraq or Syria itself.
Mm.
You know,
You know, mm, man, that's something else, bro.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it
They'll
had
be
to
able,
happen.
yeah, they'll be able
Hmm.
to detect. They'll be able to detect where things are launched from. Don't get it twisted, family. They'll be able to detect that.
They don't they
And
use the
The Russian,
exhaust?
yeah, the Russian, the Chinese can see that. The Russian and
Okay.
Chinese can see that, and they'll and don't get it mistaken. They have intel sharing operations. That's why they're
Mm.
like, yeah, if we're ever attacked, and this attack didn't impact here, and we knew, they know who shot it, they know when it was shot, they know the trajectory, they know it, and that's fed to them from Russia. That's fed to them from China.
Mm, mm, mm.
So in the news outlets, they can go ahead and give you as much kerfuffle because it's easy. Oh my goodness, you see the explosions, you see this, you see that. Oh, and then it's like, that's actually in Syria. That's actually in Iraq. And then later on tomorrow, their Friday, tomorrow, you're gonna start seeing images of, oh, here it is. And nothing
Hmm.
really going on. You want because here's the thing. You attack they attack the quote unquote the Muslim world on their Friday night.
Oh man, that's right. I forgot. That's like their Shabbat.
Yeah, that's getting ready to be the Shabbat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
Mm,
out there partying and having a good time and everything else. That's their Friday night.
man.
And then, Iranians are kind of scrambling, looking around. Okay, where's the fire? Where's the fire? They're looking on cameras. They're looking at video. Because don't get it twisted. They're as surprised themselves. You've been shot. Wait, where? Where's the blood
Man.
at? Where am I bleeding from? They're feeling themselves, feeling it, the chest, their arm, gut. Where am I shot at?
So, but let me ask you something, brother Karras. Though, so what is the reason why it's being reported that the people in that land, Israel, is leaving? They say they're leaving in droves. I mean, is there some truth to that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, because they know what the ultimate goal is. And I just showed that. They're trying to get a vote by Congress to fund Taiwan, Ukraine, and Israel so they can have U.S. troops. When those funding bills happen, those funding bills usually have a declaration. They've already had a declaration with other UN House resolutions, and now they get another one. Because why? Because when the real strike goes down, guess who's going to assist Israel? You know it. It's going to be us. And when that happens, Iran has already said if you assist Israel in their retaliatory strike, then guess what? You are targeted too. And it's going to be much worse because guess what? The targets are going to be much more.
Mm.
Iran will
But,
open up a volley, a
mhm.
lot more will be blown up, and then Iran, like it always does, it'll say, hey, listen, you could either respond, you could either retaliate, or you could either leave.
But wait a minute. But you said they're trying to get money for Japan,
Or Taiwan.
um, Taiwan,
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the third one?
Israel.
Where's all this money coming from, bro?
Well, when you have the magical printing machine called the debt maker, you can print as much money as you want.
Hmm.
We don't have
All
access
right.
to the machine. Only certain individuals. But again, that debt maker is based off of, our blood for real.
Right. Man. They
We
clowning
need
over there now.
500 trillion. Doo, 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 doo. It starts printing out all the fake money.
So, I mean, with that, are they trying to make a stand as the strength of the dollar just by printing some money?
They're trying to make a stand on the strength of the dollar by continuing to fight. And so they have to say, we're printing more money to have the fight. So we have value in the fight of the money that's being printed. So printing without fighting is destruction and devastation. So you have to print in order to fight. So then you can keep the machine going. That's why they had to print money, because why? The more money that's printed, the more you have to fight, because if you do not fight with printed dollars, folks understand that then becomes monopoly money because the value is no good.
All right, but let me pose something to you then. They're printing money, and so they're buying equipment. They're buying Skittles and candy bars. Eventually,
from where?
I was about to ask you.
Exactly, from our own people, from our own folks that are under the dollar economic system. So now, if these folks want to actually buy something outside of that, that's then now parodied for gold, what may have cost $10 a couple of months ago is now costing $1,000. Because why? Because now gold in the rest of the world is now at parity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not parity, it's actually the standard. They're trying to standardize it. So what do you think happens when a dollar collapses and there's no standard? You have to standardize it to gold, which will then make the dollar plummet. This is why when you have these fiat systems that don't want to adhere to a gold standard, they always break down in the end, and they always collapse with some sort of a last hurrah of a fight, of a conflict. And then when they die, it's not that they don't have power, strength, or might. No, that's quite the opposite. They're actually coming in with a lot of power, a lot of strength, and a lot of might. The only thing that they don't have power coming into with is the finances. You could be as strong of an army as you want, but if you don't have people selling you the equipment to fight, guess what? You're going to die. You're going to die in the vine from the lack of supplies, which is what they have going on. Nobody wants to purchase anything with a dollar derivative, because why? Well, guess what? They're not trying to peg it to any gold. Russia and China said what? We're pegging this thing to gold. As a matter of fact, because we're pegging it to gold, guess what we're doing? We're doing the new development bank. So now your settlements can be done in gold. Well, I'm sorry. Anybody that says, hey, I'd rather go for the gold than the dollar. This is how civilizations have collapsed. Not civilizations, but nations have collapsed. Because why? Because now people are trying to gobble up the best of their resources, and they're no longer going to have that centralized currency. Man, your currency is worthless. We use this gold standard. Your currency is worthless. We're using this gold, and this gold is printed right. You can melt it on down, and you'll still get the silver ounce, silver gram, the gold gram, the gold ounce. Yeah, it wasn't a question, family, of if we're going to fight. That was never the question of if we're going to fight. That's why I said yesterday on the Covenant Awakenings channel, this is Judgment Week. It's not going to be if we're going to fight. It's going to be, it's always been when they're going to fight, because I've always said they have a timeline that they have to adhere to. They know when this thing collapses. They literally know. It's just us that doesn't. How crazy is that?
But didn't Japan or Taiwan have another earthquake yesterday or something?
I think Taiwan had another earthquake like a couple of days ago.
Oh, all righty.
Yeah, they've been getting aftershocks. I'm telling you, probably there'll probably be another earthquake here in the United States, probably like another week or so. Because why? Because a lot of people don't understand this stuff is spiritual. The earth
every last drop.
The earth is now groaning. Every time they have their little, holidays and things of that nature, the Most High is allowing things to shake and break down because it's showing them something's wrong. Namani noted, said Indonesia or Japan had one yesterday. Yeah, they had one yesterday with tsunami alerts. And someone said, yeah, it was a little earthquake in Little Egypt, Illinois. So south of you, south of where you were at, Mike, in Chicago. Right there in Cairo and all those other places. Metropolis. Mike, you know about Metropolis. You always went there to get your picture with the Superman statue.
Oh, you got jokes. I tell you, you just can't leave a brother alone.
You got a black head and a white body.
Man, but looking at this stuff here, I tell you, I'm just thinking about, the brothers and sisters that's still holding on to, whatever they call it. Like one brother I knew, like I said, he had like 500,000 tied up in his house. I'm like, bro, you need to, hey. It's left to the individual. But when you see all this stuff happening, teach his own and how they move. To each and own or how they move and things of that nature, because they right here printing money like the world is not at the highest state of its lifetime, or at least a nation. I ain't gonna say the earth, a nation. The United States ain't never seen nothing like this before.
No,
it
hasn't. No, it hasn't. It has not. No, don't get it twisted, family. It hasn't seen it it hasn't seen it in World War II. It hasn't seen it in the Korean War, Vietnam War, the Iraq War. None of these wars. Now you're starting to see this is something that's going on that's crazy.
Got a lot of political people nervous, and they even speaking about them being nervous. People that served in the military, they voice and they say, I'm not scared, but I am very concerned. They're still trying they still trying to give off a sensibility that I know what's going on and things of that nature. We just watching things closely. But at the same time, they nervous. Hey, we never experienced this before.
Yeah, this is a nervous state. Yeah, this is a nervous state. Look, when people were panicking about what was going on last night, it was, oh man, it's the inevitable. Oh man, it's like, yeah, it is, but hold on. No need to get thrust into panic. you know, they were just trying to utilize this to get the funding. I still believe that the real strike is going to happen sometime after Passover.
Mm.
That's what I believe. And I believe that there's another Passover.
It's Monday.
That's on April. Yeah, that's on the 22nd.
Yes,
It's
that's what I thought. I was thinking this month too.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking this month. Mm.
So I'm getting my lamb ready for that one.
And what day is that? What day is that again? What day is that again?
I think it's Monday the 22nd.
The 22nd. Okay.
Yeah, it's Passover.
Okay. Mm.
One was the 24th, March 24th. This one's the 22nd.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna celebrate it twice. I mean, listen, no harm, no foul.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I look at it.
You know?
I mean, well, we was in captivity. You know, we lost all of that, and I think that the Most High is looking at it. All right, even though my people don't know what the true date is, they you know, if a person says I'm gonna do both of them, so be it. You got some individuals out there that said, no, this is the day, so and so, so and so, so and so. You know, and so you know,
I mean,
I mean,
what,
like you,
ago? There's a Passover to go on the 8th. You know what I'm saying? Like we 24th, 8th, you know, 22nd. It's like, man, look.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We're trying.
And I think that's what the Most High is counting. He's looking at that. He's seeing his people wants to go back to the law and maintain that law. And it's the effort. It's the effort that we're putting into it.
But I think it's interesting that this is all happening within what? Within the Passover season.
Yep, March and April. March and April.
Yeah, spring, Passover season.
Yeah. This year has been nothing but a what was the word I used? Well, you have so many telltale signs. Oh man, it was a certain word I used and I can't even think of it. Good night. But this year, there were so many blaring signs of 2024, and we in what is this? The 4th month, April. We 4 months in.
Mm-hmm.
4 months into it. I tell you, there's a lot of red flags for this year.
Yeah.
A lot of red flags. I'm like, man, please. I'm not trying to be naive. I'm not trying to fool myself as to, hey, I remember about 2 years ago, we was talking about, I remember you saying, no, I give it to 2028, 2030. I think that's when everything go hit the fan. But as we kept, we kept seeing things. And then 2024, it started balancing itself out. That scale stopped going back and forth. It started to slow down. And we just seeing some things that's happening. And I mean, man, there's some things that's happening. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of interesting things, you know. I have to kind of, no, I'm not going to laugh, but it is oddly interesting. It is oddly interesting how we're seeing what we're seeing in the time frame that we're seeing. Look, everything is ratcheting up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, the reason I knew that wasn't honestly a real strike, because you didn't really have a lot of markets react, and they put the brakes on it. Hey, it wasn't really real. You just calm down. They're not going to really respond because it wasn't really meeting the objective of the threshold. Okay.
That was the first thing I went to. I was like, what do the money look like? What do crypto look like? And I was like, man, this thing is still, it ain't did nothing. I mean, it went down. I'm like, okay. I mean, usually it's something, they did something.
Skyrocket. Yeah,
Exactly.
uncontrollably. You knew nothing was. You knew it didn't really have an effect because there was really no skyrocket. Oh, we're playing the game right here. We're playing the game right here.
They walk themselves into this.
Well,
that's one thing for certain.
So I'm going to tell you, yes, they are scared to respond. I told you this. They're scared to respond. The only response that you're going to have. So I told you yesterday they lost Jordanian support. I showed you that article of the protests that was happening in Jordan. They weren't very happy. I showed that today. I showed that in this broadcast. You can go ahead and replay that, and you have the link. It's in the chat. The chat replay is usually on. So now Jordan is gone. So that was a key element. You got to remember 90% of Israeli, well, not 90, probably like 80% of Israeli territory, at least facing Iran, is covered by Jordanian landmass. The other like 20% is Syrian, which is the disputed area of Golan Heights. Yeah, the markets do know in advance when something's real and when something's a false alarm. They absolutely do know in advance. And that's what I told you. This thing was a real big false alarm. It was a real big false alarm. But it was a false alarm in the sense that the intended purpose of the false alarm was is to ensure that, they can have a passage of the foreign aid bill. And then, the Republicans are going to be like, oh, we tried to fight back. And, we understand that we're not happy about the passage, and that it's just going to have to be something that the American people are going to have to live with because, this was out of our hands and blah, blah, blah. And then the Democrats, yeah, this is our wavering and dying support to our partners around the world and yada yada. You're gonna have the wings, right? The wings flying, the wings flapping. Oh yeah, if Jordan pulls that stunt again, they're going for King Abdullah. They will oust King Abdullah, and that oust will be via a coup. It will be via a military coup. Or they may not coup him, and they just may say, "Look, we're refusing those orders." They'll refuse orders. I'm telling you, they will. And if they're adamant and hardline, they would probably coup King Abdullah. And they will make his son king. I forgot what his son's name is. I think he's at least 25, 26 years old.
We seeing world events turning right before our eyes.
Yep.
That's one thing I say.
The Hashemite kingdom will coup, and they will put they'll put Abdullah's son on there, and they'll just give him a stern warning. Be lucky that we put you on the throne, because there could have been someone else, or there could have just been no throne. Yeah. Jordan's done. Yeah, they burned their asset. They burned that asset. They don't have Jordan anymore. So now when they say, oh, it's a great tactical victory, strategically, it was a defeat. You may have won the battle per se, but they definitely did lose a key component in the war. So had to laugh because I'm like, man, look at these articles. There it is. There it is. There it is. And that thing was updated April 18th. That was literally like as we were speaking, these folks were protesting. As we were speaking, they were literally on out in the streets protesting. Can't believe the lying eyes.
But this is what they wanted. They wanted this. It was like they had the taste in their mouth. They claimed they had the strength in their hand. And now it's like they trying to, punk out, so many words. But all of this stuff here that I'm looking at a domino effect. That's what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't understand a lot of the politics, but
Yeah, exactly. Now as I'm saying this, listen, I'm making this claim, especially as the newspapers had read that I showed with Yahoo News, with Reuters, with Jerusalem Post, even with X or Twitter. It's a claim that Israel had struck Iran. I'm going to say here that I believe that is a false claim. And that claim will be retracted probably sometime on Monday. But they got to let it run the course of the weekend so they can get the funding in. That's all the smoke and the mirrors is all about.
I was just about to ask you what was the reason, and you just gave it. All right.
That's all the smoke and the mirrors is all about. So there's going to be channels that's going to be on out there, basically repeating the same thing. It's the media repeater. And, that means that the powers that be have done their job. That's what it means. The powers that be did their jobs. And they did a good job of it. So it's a very interesting day because, I'm putting that analysis on out there. And then you're going to see more and more and more and more. Because here's the thing. What's the footage? I guarantee you when it's not night there, they're going to show, look, here it is. You tell me. I'm at here. Here's the location. Here's the time. Here's what the sky looks like. Here's what the shadow looks like. You know, you can utilize all real-time geotagging locations. Here's my lat long. Here's our MGRS. Here's anything that you need to have to show, you know, where it is and where I'm at. And this is what things look like. Oh yeah, family, this is real. You didn't realize how real this was. All this, and yeah, it does take all this. Don't think that these coordinated and calculated efforts, it takes all this to fund wars, especially when they're not popular. It takes all this, all these guises to do what? To get the quote unquote funding, to get this quote unquote political theater. Oh, see, we had to go through this. We had to go through that. See. Look. The only ones that don't bite on this now, that don't take the bait this easily, the only ones oh boy, now the scammers are coming in. Now the
just about to ask you about that. I was just about to ask you. Hey, have you seen any trolls lately?
Yeah, now they're coming. And these trolls are just trying to come to fleece folks out of money. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got a text message here, and it was reading. Even here, it said, you know, somebody asked you to send some money. It said, do not send it. It said the scammers are. It's at its highest point ever. That's what they're saying here. The scammers are out there now.
Yeah, they're on out here. Because why? Because this stuff is real. I think I must have hit a threshold. So now, like, you know, YouTube is probably, you know, doing some things. I may have hit some anomalies.
Shit, nah. YouTube probably doing the same thing as United Nations. Hey man, we need to move this over to some country in Africa to continue our livelihood. Shucks, man, please. But Karis, I ain't gonna stay on here long, man. I got to charge this phone up because I know you all gonna be calling me in a couple of hours or so. So I got to charge this phone up, brother.
Yeah, because we got some tasks for you, Mike. We got some tasks, like for real. We keep Mike busy. Please pray for Mike and please support his efforts. We're getting the office on up there, and he's also doing some things that we are having him. It's sensitive. It's sensitive in nature. But he's globe trotting. He's Tanzania trotting, getting some things together. And
Karis, I'm gonna say this. and I'm gonna get off. You remember when Sebastian told us, you know, don't drive at night because it's dangerous? So, bruh, I hopped on I was like, where is a big old bus? I mean, I take that 10-hour trip. Man, I took that. Man, what are you talking about, Karis? Man, I was like, man, what you talking about? Man, Karis, I felt like I was in the front seat.
Yep. You just wait. Let me tell you, were your hands sore after that 10-hour trip? You dripping?
Everything was sore. And Karis, we went over a bridge with a pothole in it.
Oh my goodness.
And he drove around it, this big old bus. And man, they swing in and swing out, and the whole bus be wobbling side to side.
Mm-mm.
But everybody be asleep except for me.
He could. He could. He could.
Man, I was like, no, won't do this again. Will not do this one again.
Seeing your life.
I was like, no.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's what it is. You were in that front seat, just looking at that head-on traffic, just wondering, am I going to make it here?
Man, I tell you.
Goodness. Yeah,
hey, Karis, you should have seen me. You should have seen me gulping down that olive oil. I was gulping it down and praying at the same time.
Father, help me. Father, help me. Were you trying to brace yourself against the window? You had your knee there at the armchair, acting like,
man.
Really
I had so many exit plan. It wasn't even funny.
Yep. So if the bus rolls this way, I can
exactly
go that way. If it rolls head on, I'll just have to dangle from the seat, looking like Speed. Oh,
man, I tell you, but I said nope, never again. I said, nah. If I did, if I had to do it again, I think I would literally like with Sebastian. He hired a driver.
Yes.
And boom, you just. Whew, but that night driving, no, that is not for me. I mean, and then too, it's real dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's real dark.
Yep. They ain't got no street lights. They ain't got no street lights. They ain't got no road reflectors.
They barely got the reflective. They barely got the reflective materials.
On the roads. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Exactly. But I tell you, when y'all send me on these missions, you know what? Can I get some hazard pay out of this?
Exactly.
Oh man. But I mean, But it's nice though, and things of that nature. But we got, like I said, we working on that office, trying to get things up and running and things of that nature, bro. That's all we trying our best to do. But I ain't gonna hold you up, brother. You all be safe out there, Karis.
No, well, look, it's you're in a safer area than we are. That's for sure.
Because they don't have a clue. They do not have a clue what's going on. Mm-hmm. Except for the powers that be or people that keep up with the news. But for the vast majority of no, they don't know. They do not.
No, it's sad. They don't know, man. Oh, that happened. Look, it'll be like one day they wake up and it's like, oh, the U.S. ain't here anymore. All right, what the happened? Yeah. They just be shocked out their mind. Like, there's no more U.S. What? What? They were in a war? What? Oh man!
I tell you, it ain't. It is what it is, Except, like I said, except for the powers that be, and people that keep up with the news, and it's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, and you still have some that's wishing to come to the United States and things of that nature. And even though we know better, I mean, truthfully, they don't. They just, they don't know no better. Except for the ones, like I said, that they know exactly where they need to stay at and what they need to do. That's the situation here, because I mean, it's like, they move on with their daily routines. They're out here selling, they're out here buying, moving about, and things of that nature.
Yeah, they have no clue. If America were to go down, they'd have no clue. It'll just be like, okay. They'd just be asking, so we can't use dollars anymore? That's all they'd be asking. That's like, so is this dollar still good? Mike, you just be like, yeah, this dollar's great. This dollar's great. Look, like when when all those dollars were the Iraqi dollars were bad, and people finally found out like 3-4 months later that the Iraqi dollar was no longer good. It was worthless. Oh my goodness, that's how it's gonna be. You really have like a couple days to kind of liquidate. Yeah. Enjoy the dollar, enjoy it. Yeah, that's gonna be enjoy it. That's what they're gonna say. Here you go. Here's your reparations. You only have about 30 days to spend it, and the rest of the world finds out that it's no longer good.
You know what? If they did do some dumb stuff like that, and if I did have that particular time to move that particular type of money, the fastest way to move money, buy some equipment, something that you can make money on.
Yep.
You got a material item. Boom, you're done. There go my money right there. And you keep it moving.
Yeah, you buy an equipment, you buy a plant that does equipment. I mean, yeah,
all of it.
Yeah, you can't have it in just like homes and things of that nature, just because of you're going to need equipment to build those homes. You know what I'm saying? So if you have those if you have the equipment, if you have the manufacturing to get that equipment to market, yeah, that's how you're going to make money.
Equipment to make a road. I mean, hey, that is what you call a sensible business person. Now look at, I don't know, I need this equipment, I need that equipment, and I don't care how old they get, as long as it runs, they go hold on to it because they know that's where they make their money at.
Yeah, because the thing is that people are saying, well, I'm going to cash out land. Yeah, you can cash out land, but if you don't have anything to work the land, you're just going to have land. You're just going to be sitting on land. That's it. You're just going to be sitting staring at your land. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to get some equipment. Where? What money? Yeah. So there are those particular discussions that we have plenty of time with the board. We have that plenty of time with our directors. We have that plenty of time with our leaders here at Quest United Africa. Because yes, you'll need land, but you need to have the tools. And here's the problem that you're going to have. How are you going to ship the tools?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'll have an asset that's not really an asset anymore. Now, if you're dealing in a country that, the news cycle's slow, right before things collapse, you're going to do what? You're going to be buying massively and heavily.
With the quickness.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to give me cash? Yeah. You're going to give me $3 million for an ounce of gold? All right, cool. I'll be calling up Mike. Mike, I got the cash right here. Here we go. Mike will make things happen so quick. It won't even be funny.
Man, they don't have the foggiest idea how fast mentally.
How is the dollar doing? What is going on? The dollar's great. Let's seal the deal on these things. I'm in a hurry. See, the more money you have, look, we're doing this thing fast.
Exactly. Exactly.
Brother,
moving it quick.
You didn't tell us that the dollar was going to collapse the week after you purchased everything. That's not my responsibility to tell you.
I'm not a financial agent.
I'm not a financial agent. I cannot give you financial advice.
That's the thing. But I'll be looking for your call later on today.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right. Shalom, brother.
Charge your phone. All right. Shalom. Yeah, family. I had to come through with that analysis today because I wanted us to be at least on the same page here Look, you can take the advice. You can take my analysis. It don't matter. I don't have any hard feelings if it's like, Brother Karras, you're a complete dummy. Hey, it is what it is. That's fine. That don't hurt my feelings. But what I do know is I'm usually kind of in the ballpark with the military analysis. I do have to say that. And I'm not trying to tout my record. Oh, yeah, I'm the best. Look at me, I'm the best. No, I understand this because I've worked in this for decades, 2 decades, over. I was working within the CENTCOM AOR for, man, holy cow, or CENTCOM AOR related. How many years? Oh my goodness. Over 15 years? So yeah, was this going to be an exit plan? The funny thing is, people would always ask, what's the exit plan out the Middle East? And I would always I would always tell people, I'm like, there is no exit plan out the Middle East. They either stay in the Middle East as an occupying force, or they get thrown out the Middle East. That is it that's how it goes. Now, do we see the time of their rap East? Their political state excursion in the Middle East, I believe that that's now coming to an end. That political state excursion. And when something like that ends, it has to end gloriously. I mean, like in flames. Yeah, no, those Hornets are going to be coming on out. They're like, you didn't kick this nest. You didn't even you were so far from the nest it wasn't even funny. No, we did something to the nest. No, y'all didn't. Nice try. It was a nice try. It's gonna fool some people for a while. It will. It will. Yeah, Fort Living Room, Homestead. Yeah. I'm giving you some analysis that you really won't get from any other place. And yeah, and honestly, that's their fear. I'm not going to lie to you. Exactly what 1619 has said. I'm not going to lie to you. That is their biggest fear. August 15th of 2021 is their biggest fear. Here's something on that one. Here's something to consider on that one. Types and shadows. Is that what they're trying to play on? To have the same thing happen. August of 2024. Because I'm going to tell you, if you see that at the Ben Gurion Airport or any other civilian or military airports, and they're having to do a mass flyout evacuation to take folks over into Greece or Italy or Denmark or other places in Europe, more than likely Germany and Poland, that will be a mass casualty event. And with that mass casualty event, I'm telling you, the U.S. would only have not even months left, weeks. Because everybody will see will see everything, that the writing on the wall. They'll see the writing on the wall. No, they won't. South Africa won't allow it. I guarantee you. They'll probably threaten to shoot some planes down in Africa. I guarantee you. They'll set up a no-fly zone, starting with Egypt and Sudan. They will not be able to cross the Red Sea, and they won't be able to cross the Mediterranean. I'm telling you what it is. I'm telling you what it is. I've been on the ground in Egypt. I'm telling you what it is. They will not be able to travel south or east. They will only be able to travel west and north. They will only be able to flee to northern territories. That is correct. They may even be able to flee into Turkey, and Turkey will be like, all right, but you got to get going. Keep going west. Keep going north. Can't stay here. Because you have to understand, there will be a political backlash worldwide. All those folks that are in all the other places of the world, sitting pretty and having their enclaves and saying, oh, yeah, we can split up South Africa into West Africa and East Africa, all these other parts. They won't be saying much. They'll be eerily silent. They will be eerily silent. Because why? Because they're having plans to, hopefully we can just hopefully people forget what we said. No, they won't. Those people will be kindly escorted back to the airport. Hey, you can either leave nicely, we'll give you a 45-day window to make plans, to make arrangements, so you can get up on out of here. Well, we can't go. Do you see how all these nations are in disarray? I can't even get a flight there. Well, don't worry. Someone will drop you off. Go on to Spain. Go to Australia. Go wherever you can go. I don't think people can truly understand how horrible it will be for them, how absolutely devastating this is. And when you really put the thought process into, man, yeah, it can go horribly wrong because they'll have this to contend with, they'll have that to contend with. They'll have their own nation saying, we can't send you here. We have to fly you to Greenland or something. Can't live over there. Well, I'm sorry, you can't live over here. You can go to America. Why would I want to do that? That's people are trying to leave. That's all we can tell you. And it's hard for that to make sense to people right now because it's not being pushed as a mainstream narrative. The sooner that gets pushed as a mainstream narrative, that hey, you all probably need to think about repatriating from these places other than, European lands and American lands. You probably need to think about repatriating if you're somewhere in Asia, if you're somewhere on the African continent. Well, I lived here all my life. I've lived here. I lived there. Don't get those messages from the State Department. Trust me. I believe that those messages will come from these European nations, and they'll say, hey, we have critical or, some sort of intel that suspects that when this place goes down, we can't guarantee safety. Like, I don't even think people can understand that they may even shut down American embassies and consulates as soon as that happens. Because why? Because people will be going through and they'll be protesting those consulates and those embassies left and right. They'll be running into there like they did in Iraq. Nope, you got to go. Get to the airport. We're only going to give you 3 days. And then, in amazing fashion, just like what they did in Iraq, in that embassy, and in Libya, they'll burn everything down. And you know why they have to burn everything down, right? Because of all the diplomatic cables and things of that nature. They don't want to have their secrets found out. Because then it'll be so much worse. Grab and destroy all hard drives and make sure everything is on out of there. Yeah, this is a demoralizing effort that really Israel had done to the Europeans, the state of Israel. They put them in a real bad quandary. And now you have to understand that demoralization effort, that translates. That translates in the anger, in the hurt, in the pain, and the frustration. And now they can see it. Don't get it twisted. They know what's happening. They can see what's happening. But for them to even speak this unspoken rule of when it happens, how can I respond? And they can't. They're just going to start fighting each other. That's all they're going to do. And they know it. Well, you supported them. You supported this. They're. See, they don't want to tell you how much of a slippery slope that they're on. They're not going to tell you that. And this is why they're mad, because they're mad. They know that they're getting drug into something that they really don't want to be drug into. You're witnessing literally the end of a kingdom in front of our eyes. And that kingdom spans the global West. It's the end of the Western authority, the Western nations, in front of their own eyes. It's a hard sell. That's, to me, is why they're trying to push these billions. Because why? When it falls, then guess what? You got martial law. When it falls, guess what? Folks can now have some sort of administrative sections or districts and things of that nature, because they're gonna cede territory. They're gonna cede pockets. You just saw that with what? With Xi. Okay, well, when this thing happens, California and the rest of the West, whatever, that goes to Xi. All right. What happens to your family? I don't know. They may come on out with the decree, hey, if you're black, you can leave. You don't know what type of things have been situated and formulated. But here's the thing, why not? You got to remember, with every type of revolution and every type of, campaign of sorts, they always want to find that token Negro that's going to open up their mouth and rally the troops. Hey, simple. Hey, you want to know what? In our good faith of, coming here and working with our African Americans and the diaspora and the people on the continent, we want to make sure that you all are safe, and we want to return you back to your land as a gesture of goodwill. That's Isaiah 60 in action, literally. We just didn't really understand how could that be framed. How can those pieces be put together? Yeah. I think with Europe, I think in order for Europe to avoid war amongst themselves, Europe will quickly then label the United States as a rogue nation. The UK will be very, very quick to denounce the US and Israel. And then what the European nations would say, hey, we got to come through and we have to work there as a unified security effort because of the extremism. And they'll be so quick. You know how quick they change their narratives. They'll be so quick to change their narrative. Yeah, for a long time we didn't like the rhetoric coming out of the U.S. With all of their right wing propaganda, and it's been a detriment to the world. And now we have this here because we have to set up free and fair elections as soon as possible, and in doing so, because they need resources from Africa. In doing so, we want to make right a generational wrong. We want to give the opportunity to send the African Americans back home. Yes, they're planning to throw America under the bus. That's been the whole plan all along. That's been the plan B. Wasn't us, it was them. Exactly. Zoomer Doomer. I think that will come later on. I'm pretty sure that will come. Because why? Remember, it says that the Gentiles will actually be carrying back the wealth. But why? What is the mechanism? Well, this place is probably going to go and be tried. Crimes against humanity, all the other good stuff, yada yada. See, they know literally how every domino is about to fall. But they don't want to tell you that they know how this domino is about to fall. And we're telling them, we understand how this domino is getting ready to fall. What that's going to mean. Because when you literally take over a nation or an empire, you have to strip the nation or an empire. Hey, let's give it back to them. We're going to get it back from them because why? They're going to need our expertise to do this, this, and this. And that's what they're going to think. But the joke is going to be on them when they realize that a lot of the engineers and all the folks that made this nation what it was, when we look at ourselves and gather to ourselves and understand, oh, you used to do this, you used to do that. Yeah, I used to do this. I was in this sector, that. And then we start to organize, it's over. Because why? What has the U.S. signaled to the whole world who we are? Well, we're just criminals. We're just bandits. We're just robbers. We're just thieves. We're just all of these, the most immoral and most corrupt of the corrupt. And then when it's like, all right, you got us our stuff. Okay, I need to order this, this, and this. I need to buy this, this, and this. I'm gonna get this on out there. Hey, who can help me get these roads paved? Who can help me get these pipelines, put down? All right, yeah, we got this pumping station here, but we need to do about 20 or 30 more pumping stations. We got this gridded on out because we're gonna have a planned community here, a planned community there. We're gonna have a manufacturing section here. We're gonna have our engineering section there. They would look at us and be like, how'd you get this city up and going in like less than 30 days? Simple. No interference. We know how to take shifts. And a lot of our people, we actually like to work night shifts. We're used to it. I've worked the night shift. I've worked on a night shift for 3 years. 3 years. And some days I'd have to work a double. You know how hard that was to work 16 hours? They would give you like a day, hey, thanks. So for 30 days, shoot. All right, cool. I'll see you. We'll tag team. You working on that? Yeah, I'm working on this. You working on that? Yeah, I'm working on this. We would be building cities in like less than 2 or 3 months. Now, we don't like the night shift, but we'll work it. Because you all know what I'm saying is not a lie. But the rest of the world doesn't understand that. They just think, oh, well, these black folks there, they're just heathen. Yeah, we'll be ultra motivated to get stuff done. We'll be ultra motivated. Yeah, let's put this house on here. Let's put this on there. Yeah, this is going to be for some acreage and agriculture. This is going to be for, our residents that want to just have, a 3 or 4 acre plot. This moves to smaller and smaller for folks that really don't want to have land like that want to be, in cities next to different places. I think we would be so efficient. I think even our heads will start to spin. I think we would be so efficient, our heads would start to spin like, dang, we did that quick? Man, let's see what else we can build. We would just build just to build. Oh, snap. That was quick. Let's do this. Dang, this is all. Can we do this? How quick will it be to build up this nuclear power plant? How quick how can we build up this fission power plant? We do this, and then we have our redundant energy supplies, and then we have magnetism, and then we have look. Our people would be just wilding out, which is innovation. Okay, here you go. This is Innovation District. Excuse me. You tell us what you're doing, how to do it, and let's get this thing on a mass scale. Imagine you have that to cultivate the engineers that we have, our inventors, our scientists, where they're really given real credit. And folks collaborate and they're actually treated like humans with respect. That's what they're afraid of. Building our own cars that work on water, and water that would be automatically sustained from atmospheric water generation. Shout out to Moses West. Imagining reseeding and replanting the Sahara Desert. We'll just keep a 100-mile stretch for the Arabs. We just have to make sure. All right, hey, listen, still kind of iffy about y'all, which and your role in the transatlantic slave trade. There's still this 100-mile stretch. You put big old boulders. They're hinterlands. Oh yeah, we could reseed the desert quickly. They know that we could. That desert could turn into literally a lush forest. Probably, they say, oh, it's going to take a couple 100 years. Yeah, right. That's what they always like to say. No, it's just soil erosion. There are things that you can do to get it reseeded and replanted. There are ways that can happen. It's just that they don't want to show you how it can happen. There are drought resistant plants that can happen, and then there are other agricultural works. What would take, what they would say, 100 years can probably be done in about 15 or 20. Because then, once we're able to do it, then we'll be like, all right, we could do this, we could do that. We can cloud seed, and it'll get this weather pattern changed, like what they're doing in Dubai. But the biggest thing about that is you can ask the Most High for weather, and guess what? He'll provide the rain. He really will. Yeah, so with that, family, I got to get up on out of here. It's been a little bit. I told you this is going to be a different Question Night Africa. Critical infrastructure, economic development, that's what we do. So don't get discouraged, family. Don't be dismayed. There's going to be a lot of interesting things coming out today, specifically. But this is what we do at Question Night Africa. This is a mission. From agriculture to energy to sanitation recovery. This is a 360-degree approach on life. But with that said, family, continue to support the mission. I'm not going to go hard on the funding. It's just whatever the Most High puts it on your heart to give. That's all I could say. It is a time it just wears. Thank you for those that support and that continues to support the Question Night Africa mission. We're doing our best. We're doing our best to do activities that will be able to self-support and self-sustain the mission. We're working on different events. The next one's going to be the Invest in Africa Summer Seminar. From there, we were talking about even hosting a gala sometime in July, late July, early August in Atlanta. We're even working on other ventures, and I can't get into specifics. But we are trying our best. We want to continue to shape that on up. with the gala event. That would be a nice to do. So yes, family, there are a lot of things that we're trying to do to continue to self-contain. I don't want to say self-contain, but to promote Quest Unite Africa and have the events to do it. But again, this mission, it relies on us all day, every day. That's how it goes. And can you imagine what we've done in just a year? Can you imagine what we've done in just a year? And think about what's about to take place and transpire within the next couple of weeks. That's how awesome the Most High is. I don't care what you say, how you say it. That is how awesome he is. All he does is just open doors. Yes, would we like your help? Absolutely, we would love your help. But we also know this. The Most High is going to get everything taken care of, with or without anyone's help. That's how awesome our Father is. Hallelujah. So with that said, yeah, I didn't really share any articles on the continent, but I want you to all understand this has a bigger effect on the continent than anything we could even think or imagine. Hallelujah. So with that said, please join us this Sunday with our Sunday collaborations. It's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have to go online to join Sundays. It's via Zoom. It's a simple process. You click on the registration. It takes you to the registration link that's emailed to you. You then fill out your name and email, and then you click on the link, and then you are in the Zoom meeting. It is a very simple process. Click to register, click on the link, get the link from Zoom, click on the Zoom link, put your name, email, and then you're in the meeting. I'd like to share more details about what we're doing, how we're brainstorming, and not just brainstorming, but making those plans reality. Because this is just the season we're in. We're in the season. And then pretty soon, we'll be in another season. This is how that goes. This is now very rapid. This thing is rapidly approaching. I don't know what else to say, how else to say it. But I thank the Most High that as we're able to do, we're doing. By his grace, by his mercy, and by his power. That's it. So with that said, family, I got to get up on out of here. And with that, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.
Container packed with supplies. that need to make their way to families in Africa, like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here. Are you tired of fighting with your wife or with your husband? Have you each retreated into your separate corners, not even trying to speak to each other anymore? Are your children witnessing a toxic marriage rather than a purposeful partnership? Hi, I am Shar, and I am an attorney mediator and experienced in helping families for the past 13 years navigate really challenging times. And I am here to help you. Husbands, hear your wives. Wives, hear your husbands. So together we can find the truth why your family is struggling and what it will take to get unstuck from cycles of misunderstanding and patterns of frustration. Join me live on YouTube on this Monday night at 6:00 p.m. Eastern as I conduct a live mediation. And if you would like to be heard, if you would like to hash out a misunderstanding with your spouse here on our live, sign up now to apply for your free opportunity to mediate. And I look forward to seeing you Monday night.